Black house will rock. Blind boys don't lie. Immortal fear. That voice so clear through broken walls. That scream I hear. Cry, little sister.
It's mine now.
I couldn't believe that, man. That just blew my mind. I went and played the lottery, all kinds of shit.
Welcome, Earthlings, to the latest episode of the Recover Film Buzz podcast.
You cold open motherfucker.
I'm your host, Dan Sellers, along with my undead co-host, Mr.
Sammie Castle. I think you've used Undead before.
Well, fuck me. Okay.
Kooky. No, that's Adam's Family. We're on to a different movie now.
I don't know. What's another word for vampire?
Vampiric.
My vampiric co-host.
Sucky.
Sammie Castle. Oh, I forgot. Sucky.
We're here with our frequent guest and,
A third wheel.
yeah, basically the third host of the
Feel
show.
like a third leg sometimes. What's my name again? Oh, Chad Hunt.
Better late than never. We're here today to talk about the 1987 horror modern classic. What do you call it that? The Lost Boys? If you can't tell by the music.
Modern classic. I don't know. This is a cult movie.
Modern cult film. Okay. Or a cult horror class
I don't know.
It was one of those that was big
Yeah.
for its time.
at the time.
Yeah.
But it was, it had that big studio feel to it. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
Well, it was a studio.
down
movie.
and
It was
dirty,
Warner
gritty
Brothers.
horror movie. It was more like a fairy tale type of
Yes.
movie.
I look at it as the first of the let's take something old and cool and hip it up.
And, yeah, for the time.
Young
Yeah.
Guns was the Western version,
Yeah.
and Romeo and Juliet with DiCaprio,
Yeah.
and was the kind of the drama version.
Sure.
You know, so this was kind of the first one that kind of let that stuff off.
Yeah.
Let's take these old vampire trope and hip it up a little bit. I don't know what vampires had kind of been on a downswing since the late 70s. Can we think of anything?
Well, I mean, the Hammer movies were big in the 70s.
Hammer,
and,
Hammer
Yeah,
movies.
but since then,
between
like the early
87
80s,
and
yeah.
the... I don't know. When was Kolchak? That was...
Kolchak was
That's the
70s.
mid-70s.
Yeah.
But you
Early
had,
70s.
And Langella's
you had
Dracula was in
Near
the
Dark.
70s.
You had
Okay.
Near Dark's the same year as this movie.
yeah,
Ah. Okay.
some Bigelow movie.
Which I would argue the better of the two, but I don't... This is one of your favorite movies,
Oh,
right?
God, I love this movie.
Yeah. If you were an '80s kid, you loved this movie.
Yes, absolutely love this movie because it's got everything.
But if you're a horror
This
fan,
screams 80s.
like a true horror fan, you
it's
hated
terrible. Did you really?
it. No, just messing with you.
Near Dark is Near Dark is
It's-
the more horror.
Yeah.
Plus, it's written better
Yeah.
and had a better story.
But this was fun.
But it sort of played along the same lines with the little kid who couldn't grow up because he was a vampire
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of thing. This is more of a comedy.
It's more
This
fun.
is very
Yeah.
stylistic
Yes.
of its time. Very
Well, it's,
timely movie.
Did not realize that it was Richard Donner.
Yeah.
I was blown away by that.
He was going to be the director of the film, but quit to do Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead, it was left to the guy that ruined the Batman franchise.
There's a lot I want to say about Joel Schumacher, but I'm going to shut my mouth because I don't want to be.
These aren't sparkly vampires.
I don't know. This is pretty
Pretty sparkly.
sparkly.
I think if they could have threw glitter
They
on them,
they literally
they would
put
have done.
glitter in the blood in this movie. I mean, that's not a joke. They literally put glitter to make the blood sparkle.
Jason Patrick when he had hair.
How many freaking
Murder capital of the world.
actors did this freaking movie spawn, though? You got Jason Patrick. You got Kiefer Sutherland early in his career. You've got
The Coreys.
You've got Diane Wiest was
She'd been in a lot of Woody Allen stuff, I think.
Beetlejuice. Yeah.
yeah.
Bernard Hughes had
Jamie
been around for a
Gertz.
long, long time.
Yeah.
Jamie Gertz had done a few movies.
Yeah.
Crossroads.
Not-
And
not-
We've
she done
talked
Crossroads?
about
Crossroads.
Sammy's love for Jamie Gertz and Twister.
This is what fed it.
that's what really killed Bill Paxton.
This with Jamie Gertz should kill me.
Hey,
Can't believe I let her get away.
Why the hell he picked Helen Hunt over her, I'll never know. Alex Winter. Before he
This is a very
before he
80s
played
movie.
Bill and Ted.
before he played another character.
And Freaked.
Can't
Remember
wait
Freaked?
to see a trailer for the new Bill and Ted. That's going to be crazy.
We're like, oh.
Now, this is since we're kind of watching together this. I noticed the other day this movie has a really good soundtrack and score, but it's very repetitive. They use Cry Little Sister, People Were Strange.
A lot.
A lot. It's
Yeah.
not, it doesn't vary.
And it kind of hits you over the head. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's not. There's nothing subtle about it. It's very.
I used to play this soundtrack in my car. I didn't really.
Yes, you did.
79 Camaro.
Yeah. No, it's a Trans Am, actually.
Own it, Chad.
Well, there's one song that I really did like. It was by NXS, and
Did you tonight?
no,
No.
it was on here. Good Time.
Yeah.
Jimmy Barnes and NXS.
Yeah.
That was a great song.
Cry Little Sister's a good song. They just do so many.
It's
Yeah.
it's used.
Became the anthem of every goth kid in America.
That dude's still on the circuit. That Tom, whatever. his
Oh,
name
really?
is. Yeah. We saw him at Monster last
Is
year.
this the same dog from the thing?
But the hair gel is on point for
Don't
everybody.
make fun of the Nook. He saves Corey Haim
I
anytime.
love that '80s shirt. Jesus.
This is great.
This Corey's dead now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This is the dead Corey.
This is the dead
The
Corey.
dead Corey. Okay, that's how I have to keep them separated now. Is he the dead Corey?
Grandpa is so freaking nuts. The scene later on where he's like, "Okay, we're going to town." And they go sit in the car. And he talks about the car. And they build it all up, and he cranks the car and he revs it up. Says, "Gotta let it warm up a few minutes," and then cuts the car off. He's like, "I thought we was going to town. Yeah, it's close to town I want to get."
So this takes place in Santa Carla, which was shot in the real town of Santa Cruz, California.
So is the new Santa Clara supposed to be the same kind of town? Santa Clarita died. What's the zombie?
Oh, Drew Barrymore thing?
Yeah,
It's still Santa Clarita, right?
Santa Clarita died.
Santa Clarita.
I don't know. We're probably screwing that all up.
Oh, Santa Clara.
Is it Clara? Oh,
don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember.
But anyways, the real life town this was filmed in, Santa Cruz, was in the 70s the real murder capital
Well,
of the U.S.
It's because of all the damn vampires.
And there were about 3 serial killers active at the same time in Southern California, and who kept killing people in Santa Cruz, and that bumped the numbers and statistics up to, for a period of time in the 70s, it was known as the murder capital of the United States. So when they filmed this movie here, and it's in IMDb trivia, you could probably find it. I don't know the names, but I think Edmund Kemper was one.
Yeah.
When they actually went to film this movie, and they kept referring to the fictional town as a murder capital, that made the city council very fucking nervous. They really didn't like it. because it was not that far in the past that it actually was the murder capital. Very near memory.
I love it. When it brings TV guy, if it's
You don't need to watch
curled up a little
TV.
bit,
All right, this is
Saxophone
we
dude.
got a comment about the saxophone guy.
What?
Who's still on the circuit,
Yeah,
too.
that's
Really?
that's who I was talking about. Tom
Oh, okay.
Something.
Oh, okay, that guy.
The hell was his name?
This dude is so freaking committed to.
And he's still
what
got
he's
the
doing.
long hair. And
Is he still shirtless?
no,
Greased up?
He wears a shirt. And that
Jamie Gertz.
shit.
What the hell is wrong with him? Why is he staring at her like that?
It must be something about freaking girls taking their hand and running through her hair, because that's Sandra Bullock in A Time to Kill.
Yeah.
That's my Sandra Bullock moment, was her kind of doing this, flipping her hair back.
That's not even him singing. That's The Call. That group, The Call. He's lip syncing to their song.
Yeah.
Jackass. And they have no idea. They're just going, "Oh, shirtless guy."
I can't say this guy without thinking of Kenny Powers making fun of on the. He's back down making fun of that guy. He's like,
Yeah.
"You look like some bitch from the Lost Boys." He just does the saxophone. This is reminiscent of the Sergio sketch from Saturday Night Live. Y'all ever see that? John Hamm plays this character named Sergio, who's in a ponytail and shirtless and playing the saxophone, and which was based on a real live stunt
Timmy
these guys
Capello.
would do, where a
His
guy
name's
who
Timmy.
looks just like the guy from Lost Boys would go in public places and play Careless Whisper on the saxophone.
Careless Whisper.
And people would run him out of, like, security would arrest him and stuff.
Ed Herman, the most unassuming villain.
So now that you say that, I'll say I never actually saw this movie 100% all the way through until preparing for this podcast, because
Really?
the whole ending I didn't see coming.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of those movies I've seen bits and pieces of over the years, just never seen the whole thing.
It's been quite a few years since I've seen it. Now it's all coming back
The
to
twist ending got me. I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize.
If it's on, I stop watching.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies. This is the first video cassette I ever owned.
Yeah, you've told that story
Yeah.
before. How
back
much?
when they cost $100.
I got it for Christmas. My mom saved up probably all year to get it for me.
First one I bought was that one right there, Batman.
Oh, was it really?
Really?
And it must have been $35 when I got it.
That's, and I still have it. I
Yeah.
still have my $100.
I have
Lost
Batman.
Boys.
Oh, you had your
I have
$100.
your $100 Lost Boys video cassette.
You had that sumbitch on display somewhere.
I have a box video cassette somewhere, so I don't. That's the only one. I took a box to Bo Fader and Brockton McKinney, who collect avidly video cassette tapes, especially big box horror stuff they love. But I took them a box of video cassettes, and I was like, "Oops, Lost Boys, nope." They were like, "Why?" And I said, "That's the first video cassette I ever owned."
So in hindsight, having seen the ending of this film, when he tells them, "I told you not to come in my store," and Kiefer and the boys give him a look, it has a totally different meaning than watching it the first time around. You think, oh, that's an odd way to react to that, but they don't say shit to him. They don't talk back. They just give him a funny look and walk out. Worth noting.
And also a side comic book story. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got comic books in it, so.
So how old are the Frog Boys in this?
They got to be 12, 13.
Yeah, I mean, they're
13,
early
14
teens,
maybe.
13, 14. Okay, none of them drive, so.
I don't think any of them are like 14, 15 maybe. Except that goofy looking one right there. I've got all those issues of Superman. Is this Geek Talk?
Yeah,
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. I don't know how accurate it is. Because he's talking about DC, and I don't really know DC. Here.
I just feel like this is such bad acting.
It is, man.
It's distracting. And just knowing that this is the director who ruined Batman, for him to be talking about Batman, it's like, fuck you, man.
Look at that generic looking vampire comic.
Who drew it? Kyle Holtz?
No comment.
All right, so we got our second vampire kill, which is much like the first one, which they come from the sky.
Yeah. Don't show it.
They don't show you. It's all off screen, which I think works really well. It's a cool way to do a horror kill in a movie, which is just, it leaves a lot to the imagination. You're getting the reaction of what they're seeing. The audience doesn't get to see it. It works.
And the dead Corey caught so many flies in his mouth from his mouth just hanging open the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
They had to empty his head every day.
God.
But God, after this, them two were inseparable.
Yeah.
They were in
Well, they made a
everything.
slew of films.
The bandstand and the comic book shop were destroyed by the 1989 earthquake. 1989. Did I say that?
Have you guys seen Us yet?
Yes.
I think it's made in Santa Cruz as well. I'm not sure. I think it either takes place or it's filmed in Santa Cruz, same town. I mean, it looks like The Lost Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they stalking this kid? That's what I want to know. They're like all up
You
in
know
his
why.
grill.
You know why.
Yeah, I know why, but I want to hear one of you say it.
It's Don't shoot him,
So many flies. We're just going to end up making fun of this movie.
No, stop.
It's my one and only Joel Schumacher comment I'm going to make.
Jameson Newlander. Oh, he was 16.
Bitch, you're homeless and living in a cave. What do you care? It's a ripoff.
It's a ripoff.
You're living in a vampire lair.
You're eating stolen Chinese food. You're living in a cave.
I'd still follow her anywhere. I'd steal Chinese food.
Is she
for her.
doing anything these days?
Jamie Gertz?
Yeah.
She's doing some TV.
I literally can't think of any other movie but this and Twister. But I mean,
There's a movie called
she working?
Crossroads she did with Ralph Macchio.
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, well, it's a really good movie. It's about the blues. It's got Steve Vai in it.
Steve Vai, Ralph Macchio.
Where they-
Where he makes a deal with the devil.
yeah, that's a really good movie.
She's
Never seen
in
it.
a TV show right now, I think. No. Just little TV stuff. She was in an episode of This Is Us. She was on The Neighbors, Modern Family, Entourage, Shark. I'm trying to find the last movie she did. Lip Service in 2001.
We need to have a Sutherland vampire double feature with this and Buffy. And Buffy's came out in the 90s, but for some reason seems more 80s than this.
But it's tied to this because this was the first use of Vamp Out, which was in Buffy all the time.
That's funny.
Yep.
I actually like Buffy a lot. I liked it better than the show.
I did too.
For some reason, it just, I don't know. Paul Rubens is so great in that.
54.
Jamie Gertz.
Yes.
She still looks like she's
Oh my God.
just climbed out of the Lost Boys trailer.
Minus the hair.
I like this song too, Lou Graham.
Yeah. Drool over all day.
Style over substance. That's the Lost Boys way. should say the Joel Schumacher. I'm sorry. In order to entertain myself for the rest of this podcast, I'm just going to start smashing Joel Schumacher.
But honestly, that's a good point to make, because this version, or the ultimate version you see of this film, it in no way really resembles the initial concept of the Lost Boys, because Joel Schumacher wanted to make it sexier and make it older kids. This was initially supposed to be like the vampire version of Goonies.
Yep.
That's why Richard Donner was going to do it. Mm-hmm. This was going to be younger kids. Instead of pirates, it was vampires, and that's essentially what the concept was.
Well, that would have been more interesting to me.
It may have been a pretty cool movie, but Joel Schumacher was like, nope.
More pink.
This needs to be a sexier film.
More nipple.
I was watching the interview with him, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Dude.
And for some reason, they thought he would be the person to make Batman Forever. But
boy, did he make it.
Dude, have you grabbed a pecker before?
You asking me, or you talking about Joel Schumacher? That's a no for me.
Okay.
Well,
not even your own.
Generic ass vampire comedy.
I wonder who actually did that. I'd be curious to see who the artist was. Because they actually showed the interior of the book, don't they?
I don't remember.
But I think, I may be wrong, but it seems like when he flips through the book, it's like Tomb of Dracula stuff. It's like Jim Conlon.
Yeah.
Is he drinking a knee-high grape? I got nothing.
I still enjoy those. I get those.
Because he tells them.
I get those the best
way.
way.
Do not touch it.
Yeah.
Molly Ringwald.
Molly Ringwald. This is just steeped in 80s stuff.
I tell you, another 80s film that I feel has some kinship with this is Fright Night. Another vampire film with a teenage boy.
A much better movie. To me,
I enjoy it a lot.
Even though Charlie was the stupidest.
Yeah, he was dumb.
Idiot.
He was dumb, but he made for a fun protagonist.
Yeah.
I even like the remake.
I like that Grandpa just comes in and drops freaking taxidermy.
He comes in, does some weird shit, walks out. He's a good comic relief every now and then. He still just, he can't get his freaking eyes off of her.
And they all do that. They're like, molester ass.
I understand.
I feel like this movie needs Prince.
If she was in the room with me, I wouldn't be able to take my eyes off.
I just remembered I hate this movie.
All right, one of my favorite vampire movies of all time is What We Do in the Shadows. Have you seen that? Mm-hmm. They have a great reference to this film and What We Do in the Shadows, where they serve dinner to this group of humans, and they serve them spaghetti, and halfway through he goes, "How do you like your worms?" And he looks to the camera and goes, "I got that from the Lost Boys."
Oh, really? I haven't watched that movie. I know, it's one of my holes.
It's so funny.
I don't understand why vampires would eat Chinese a lot.
Why they eat
why they eat anything.
Every vampire movie, there's different set of rules, you know. Mm-hmm. Some are okay in sunlight, some are not.
Because Chinese food is really kind of heavy in garlic, so.
Well, they said in this film, garlic doesn't do anything to what's his face, and
that's only a plot device so he can eat the food. Come on, guys.
Well, you got to have this bit. Some films, vampires can't eat food, period. Like True Blood, if they eat food, they get all sick and vomit. And
even Gary Oldman and Coppola's, and you never saw Bela Lugosi eat of real food. They sat there and they would watch Jonathan Harker eat, but they would never eat.
Yeah, I've already dined. Mm-hmm. But even Dracula, he can exist in the sunlight.
Right.
You know, some films they explode in sunlight. So it's like there's never any consistency between vampire films. You really have to set up your own rules in the first act.
And it's to whatever the plot needs.
It really is, and it almost always the rules dictate how the vampire dies.
Yeah.
At the end.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the way they set it up to.
One of my favorite vampire movies is From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my favorite jokes is at the end when Cheech Marin goes, "So what were they, psychos?" And George Clooney goes, "Psychos do not fucking explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give a fuck how crazy they are."
I love his name in that movie, Cheech Marin.
Yeah.
Chet Pussy.
Well, he plays like 5 characters.
Yeah,
in the
but
movie.
in that when he's standing outside barking for the guys to come in, that character's name was Chet Pussy.
We need to do From Dusk Till Dawn. That's a great movie.
Oh my gosh.
A great story behind the making of that too.
So even though this spawned a bunch of actors, is Kiefer Sutherland by far the standout?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I mean,
Jason Patrick, I think they were trying to make him a star, but it just didn't go. And I think Speed 2.
Jason Miller's son, right?
Is he real?
I think so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's the son of Jason Miller.
Huh.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
And from my research, here we go. Here's. Thou shalt not.
With them all dancing around, and yeah, it's very sexy.
More pink.
Pretty boy.
Oh, it's no doubt it's pretty boy.
His half
You
brother.
gotta think about the late '80s too. That was Poison, and there was a lot of pretty boys.
I hated Poison too.
You hate everything. What's your point?
I don't hate everything.
Is it just me,
I like my winter.
or
It's getting tired.
or is it just me, or is the name Michael uttered like nonstop?
118 times.
And that look, he just can't. He can't give a regular look to anybody. He's just going
It's smoldering, Chad. It's
like a
sulfur.
cat getting ready to pounce on a mouse or something. Everybody.
Michael.
He's either really stupid or he's contemplating whatever his next move's going to be.
Michael wants to know
I
what's
can catch
going
I
on.
kind of feel like we should just call this film Michael.
No, John Travolta did that movie.
We can call that The Lost Boys. That's fine. Let's call this Michael.
Lost Boys Michael. The Lost Michael. We're going to disappear.
Bye, Michael. Michael.
Phil's
Michael.
waiting on me downstairs.
It's like John Candy and the Blues Brothers. Orange Whip. Orange Whip. Orange Whip. Michael. 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 Michael.
118 times. But out of all the main characters, Kiefer Sutherland has the least amount of lines.
Well, the boys don't really talk. They let him do all the talking for them.
But he doesn't have any, like Jason Patrick and Jamie Curtis. Well, it's kind of based around the Coreys.
You never have, and that's something that you never have character development of a vampire. They always start the same way, in the same way. They don't ever change that I can think of.
Well, they say it in the freaking
They're eternal.
movie. They don't ever change. They don't ever die.
That's true. And they don't
They
say
actually-
anything that surprises you.
Yep.
It's always.
They actually say it.
They can't just say dude once.
No.
Hold on to the train track, Michael.
Michael.
Yeah, Michael. Here comes the train, Michael. Dude.
Even when he's dreaming, it's Michael.
Michael, you drink all my knee-high grape. Michael. You okay, Mike? You
I
okay?
don't understand why they would even volunteer to do this.
Yeah, Michael. Don't be scared, Michael.
Keanu's going to catch us.
Michael's like the double negative.
How did Keanu not get in this movie?
Who, Michael? Is that who he said was one of them? Michael?
Michael. And very common names for Michael, David, except for Star and Laddie. Marco. Polo. Ah, I just got that. He's in a fog. Marco. Polo.
It's Michael Polo.
Down here, Michael. Michael.
Okay. Was this? I don't know. Was this a big hit? This was a pretty big hit.
this was-
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. might not hold up greatly.
I feel like Joel Schumacher's just telling him to stand in place. We're going to blow a leaf blower in your face with a bunch of smoke and just do this.
Act like you're on
It's okay. We're going to shoot you from the waist up.
Like you're on the cover of one of my romance novels.
It only did $5 million opening weekend. $32 million. Again, another movie.
But this is a movie with a $5 million budget.
Oh, well, then lots of money.
You could make movies like that back then, and they were big successes. Nowadays, a $5 million budget is a studio won't waste their time with it.
Dude, it was $5 million. Let's see what we do.
You know what's funny is you see movies like we were just talking about Joker in the last episode, but Joker had a $50 million budget, and people keep saying what a low budget that is for a Warner Brothers movie, and it's true.
Well, I mean, they didn't have to spend that much money on that movie.
Or probably not.
Yeah, Michael.
They did this in only 3 weeks, though.
I'm going to Google how many times Michael's name's mentioned.
Well, it's 118 times.
Is that what you just did? Okay.
No,
Now, is that 118 total or just from Kiefer Sutherland? Because he says it like...
It seems like a lot. It seems like we're at 118 right now, and we're not even halfway through the movie.
You know, the Frog brothers were named after Edgar Allan Poe?
Yeah, Edgar Frog and Alan Frog. Yeah.
Where'd the frog bark come from? That's what I don't know.
That's a good...
Your mama's name is
That's
Frog?
a fair question.
I'm going to name you Frog.
Several thousand local residents answered the casting call for family-type street people, punks, surfers, roller skaters, and one brain-dead hippie.
No costumes needed. Just you show up the way you are. And Santa Cruz in the 80s. It's Corey Feldman.
I like the way he uses Windex as cologne. Yeah. I've tried that. It doesn't work.
Stings.
Well, it's Grandpa. He's going to see the widow, whatever the hell her name was. Although I would really love to sit and watch this movie again.
Yeah, Corey Feldman was a pretty big coke addict at the time of making this film, even at his young age, and
Foreshadowing.
he was fired and then rehired by Joel Schumacher because he showed up just blazed out of his mind and was unable to say his lines.
Okay. In what alternate universe is the Nook the dog from the thing? And
that's what Dan said earlier.
I understand that. I was headed towards the story, but never mind.
I'm tired too. So.
What did you do to my dog, you asshole?
Michael?
There are so many little bitty storylines in this.
No, that was one of my favorite parts of the film was when Corey Haim realizes that Jason Patrick's vampire. Says, "You just wait till I tell Mom. Wait till Mom finds out." And he's legit scared that his mom's going to find out he's a vampire.
There must be the brain dead hippies, right?
I said, "What's happening in the background?"
Close your mouth. It's the only way I can breathe.
Oh, my phone just died. No more IMDb for me.
I feel like this is a probably part of the direction in the film, which is, "God, Corey, your mouth wasn't open enough. Open it up."
Some of this stuff I kind of don't get. This section I kind of don't get.
That he's like
floating and just
involuntarily floating.
I don't think that's something vampires do.
Well, they kind of go into this whole transformation thing, and then they abandon it about an hour into the movie.
Flying vampires. Flying Jason Patrick.
And they do this kind of cheat in this film of saying, "Oh, well, all vampires are different. They even die differently.
Yeah.
Some don't explode and some do, and And it seems kind of like a cop-out way of saying, there's no real rules here.
We're going to make this up as we go along.
Yeah, it's whatever we want it to be.
Thank you, Joel.
I mean, this is a neat thing, but it only happens to him in this one scene, and nothing. There's not a lot more.
Well, I don't know if they're just reiterating the fact that vampires fly and kill most of the time by flying. So now Jason Patrick flying, does that mean he's going to start killing people? Or
I want to see more vampires turn into bats. I feel like that's missing in the vampire movie.
It says a guy who made a short film about a face on a bat.
Yeah, I made sure when we made our vampire short film, there was an actual bat with the person's head on it that looked like Dracula, just like the old Looney Tunes but Dracula.
Who are you to flying?
I feel like I'm watching The Little Rascals.
You are. Just with
What are you, the Flying Nun?
Make sure you pause it there so the audience has a chance to laugh.
Laugh track here. More pink.
And Mom thinks they're just see, foreshadowing. There's Laddie on the missing.
I like the way they don't even put his real name on the milk carton. They got Laddie in quotes.
You gotta admit this shit's funny though, with him all wrapped in garlic.
It's an entertaining
Why do you
movie.
Smell like garlic.
Ooh, close your mouth. He's just like a dingling character,
Well, which makes the twist work so well, because you really don't see that coming. Some alternate casting for Max. Fred Gwynn almost was cast as his character, which would have been interesting. A pretty big age gap between him and Diane Weiss, but would have been interesting.
What do you think about that gauge?
But I think you would see that twist coming as opposed to this, because
am I kicking you?
no, if you have Fred Gwynn, you want to use him in a cool way, not just have this secondary character,
And Fred Gwynn can't play a vampire.
He's a Frankenstein.
All his little hints that that they're coming after him, but they don't ever go after him. You shouldn't ride those motorcycles, Gage.
Don't ride that over there. Big trucks come down through that.
You really worked on your main accent.
No, not really.
This kind of has a Goonies feel to it.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
very much so.
this cave lair.
I'm up here in my wedding dress.
I actually think about it for a second. It kind of looks like the Bat Cave
And that's actually a
in
hotel.
Batman Forever.
I think it's actually a hotel that fell in.
I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It was a hotel, and then the earthquake took it, or
Yeah.
something. It sank into the ground.
Oh no, I mean that's definitely the story, but I think it was.
The real thing is,
Yeah.
I just assumed it was a set. I mean, the way it's lit and everything. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I did care what was happening to me 5 minutes ago until you started
This
kissing.
is how straight guys kiss. I mean, guys.
Very 80s music.
Yes. I wrote down 80s sex montage.
Big time.
We need to get 80s sex montage.
Oh, there's a couple of good montages in here. The training montage.
There's a training montage. There's a getting the house ready for battle montage later.
Joel Schumacher's like, I don't like this scene as much as I did the other
Let's cut it down, throw some clouds in.
More pink.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Crank that fucking
I
song.
don't understand this little deal here. I don't know what that's
They're supposed to be flying symbolically.
But it's daytime.
I'm just grasping.
The sun's
at
coming
straws.
up.
I'd be flying if
Just
Jamie
bird?
Foxx was in the bed with me.
Bird?
It's
Oh,
like they
man.
were going somewhere else and they came back. They flew back into the cave in the daytime. Which vampires can be.
Go for the sign.
I feel like that's bad camera work.
Yeah, before drones.
Before drones were invented, yeah.
I just had to zoom with the helicopter.
Just some guy on a crane.
Or even better yet, they're on the top of a mast.
Oh my God.
I need to get closer.
I just got
Hearing
done
really does it for
romantificating my woman.
Seal it all up. That's what sex with Jane Gertz does. She's magical.
Well, there's things on me I don't really want sealed up. I better. Doc, I'm constipated.
He's had this great night of sex with this beautiful woman, but he comes home cranky as hell, doesn't want to talk to his mom. You just had sex with a vampire? Do you want to talk about it?
She's so, that's so, yeah.
I could just be really tired. I'm just really hating this movie right now.
She thinks he's on drugs. She's worried about her kids.
Yeah, but that's very unrealistic.
And she's just gone through a bad divorce. So the kids are, I mean, it's just, she's trying to be an understanding mother.
Okay. I'm just going on my
And
own
keep trying to
experiences.
ruin
My
her
dad
days.
thought I was on drugs. You're on drugs! Last time I'm telling you anything.
We should do Edward Scissorhands on the show. Just gonna throw that out there.
Random thought.
Diane Weiss.
No, I've never seen that movie all the way through.
What?
I'm like you with this.
So that's your Lost Boys then, for me.
Kinda, yeah, sort of.
That's great. I love Edward Scissorhands.
Bernard Hughes just drops in and goes, looks like I'm not the only one that got lucky last night. Then walks back out with his grape knee high.
Walked in with some kind of weird stuff and then some odd cars in this
Yeah.
movie. It's like, hey, we're gonna do 80s stuff.
What the hell is that
I
thing?
have no earthly idea. Like a Ford
Land Rover?
Bronco. This is the Sixth Sense before the Sixth Sense ever though.
What?
What?
It's dropping all these little hints that Max is the vampire.
Oh, there's the
Helmsville.
inside. No,
Okay.
the inside doesn't look anywhere as good.
Master sleeping. Come back later.
She drops wine. Sam doesn't help at all.
Sam, help the dog doesn't on my period.
Oh my God.
Damn. Dog's gonna eat the damn door. She's a hound of hell. Which will explain in the comic book later.
They just looked at it. He was looking at it as the dog was running. And it was bad art on the inside of the comic.
So, okay, here's one of my big problems with this movie. The back of the sign says the murder capital of the world. Grandpa knows about vampires. The Frog Brothers knows about vampires. Everybody that seems to live there knows about vampires. But yet the guy with the blonde streak thought he could take on a vampire?
Oh yeah, the punk at the beginning.
One him and his girlfriend get killed in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So why is any of these, or the cop, or the security guard, even the cop, the security guard, and where are the police in this movie?
They're out solving the murders. They're all on the murder scenes.
Look up into the sky, dude. Look up into the sky.
Luke, we're stretched really thin on all
That's
these
why it's the
vampires.
murder. They're all looking down. They're not looking up.
It's a good thing we got the Frog Brothers to back us up.
Corey Feldman doing his best John Rambo with his hair.
Mm-hmm.
His
Close your mouth. For God's sake.
guess what vampires can do? They can put out.
Oh, now he's all goth.
They can put out candles with their fingers. Get burnt.
Overnight, I became the lead singer of The Cure. I don't know what happened.
Gotta plug it in before the battery goes dead.
Sam's scared of it.
I don't think Robert Smith would like this movie at all. I don't think Robert Smith would like this movie at all.
Probably not. I don't know. It brings the world.
These vampires are too fun for him.
I'm going out to brood.
Let's talk about.
Think about it. He's becoming a vampire. But he's got a hot girl, but she's also a vampire. She comes with a kid. You know, that's kind of something nobody ever really
Is Laddie her
about.
kid?
No, but
Who's her kid?
Laddie. But
I just asked you if
her.
Laddie was her kid.
It's not actually her kid, but I mean, I guess she's kind of looking after him.
Then why is he missing?
So, what?
Then why is he missing? The milk carton said he was missing.
It's somebody else's kid, but she's looking after him. She's adopted him. So
He was probably around when the
I
Vikings
got the sense that Laddie was really old, but why the fuck is Laddie on the milk carton? I mean,
he's really old.
Vampire, like he's really old.
He's dressed in period attire. Like, I mean, am I wrong, or am I just thinking?
That's what I thought. Like he was really old.
He was dressed in like Alan Frog. Like,
Okay.
Just with
Was he?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe a little old, but I mean, they
I
explain that in an interview with Vampire. If you get killed, most all vampires, if you're a kid and you get turned, you stay a kid.
You stay a kid. No, I get. What I'm saying is, if he's potentially
Because he's
300,
not really turned.
if Laddie's potentially 300 years old, why is Laddie on a milk carton? Is what I was saying.
He's been missing a long
I think he's
time.
not been missing that.
Okay, I was just saying I got the impression Laddie's
Fairly.
old. Okay.
No.
We had touched about the original script here for for a little bit. It was much more kid friendly, and it was, like I said, conceived to be kind of like the vampire version of the Goonies, but it was also very much a vampire take on Peter Pan, hence the title, The Lost Boys. It was very much taken and just said, this is a good example of a Hollywood rewrite and a Hollywood remix. This is a funny scene of the film.
Does it burn?
They're all trying to, they suspect that Max,
Freaking the mirror.
yeah,
They got all the lights out and get this extended mirror out and just put it in front of his face.
which this is actually shows you that the Flock brothers kind of have good instincts when it comes to vampires, because they called it.
So this is the first time they actually sees them as vampires, though, right?
I think so, yeah. He's already drank the blood.
Again, why, if you know you live in the murder capital of the world and you know there's vampires, because everybody in town seems to know there's vampires, why the hell are you out partying on the beach in the middle of the night?
Shoot
It's
at
the
home.
80s.
Listening to shitty Aerosmith music. Let's walk this way.
Yeah, it's the Run DMC version.
No. Oh no, I thought it was there.
That's the Run DMC
That's the
version
Run
there.
DMC version.
It's even worse.
My bad.
Well, this is the first. How far are we into this film? About halfway. It's the first time we really see. It's the first time we really see the vampire. We see Kiefer with the fangs. Well, we've seen them kill people. We've never seen it. It's always been off screen, and here you actually get to see blood and biting and.
Terrible as a vampire.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, those red eyes and that. Yeah, just very centralized fangs. Does that make sense? The fangs are more forward rather than being canines. Normally, vampires are canine teeth. But
Did you say centralized fangs?
yes,
Okay. Okay.
more closer to the center.
I'm just trying to clear that up at 1:19 in the morning.
Nice.
So, is it Nosferatu that have their fangs towards the middle?
Nosferatu has
Oh,
two
the red
like
one.
rat teeth,
Okay.
two big fangs in the middle.
So most time vampires are canine teeth,
Yeah.
but those are
Those are the ones the next in line from the
whatever
canines.
that eye teeth. Your eye teeth.
Again, it's one of those things where you have to set up your own rules at the beginning of what your vampire is, because some are in the middle, some are like right on the canine, some are on the other side of the two front teeth.
I find it very interesting. Do you ever see them actually bite anybody?
Yeah, you just saw, or Kiefer just bit this dude's head and blood sprayed. That's one of the coolest parts of the movie. He bit him on top of his head for some reason.
Look at that Spielberg backlighting.
That's a very 80s shot.
That's a really...
There's a near dark shot like that.
That's a really cool bonfire. It seems to light everything. It lights on the other side of the dune.
Lights up Michael down below.
As someone who was on the set of Sea Salt Wind for Oak Island, it is very hard to light a beach at night in the dark.
I'm sure it is.
You either get too much or not enough. Grandpa and his taxidermy.
Close your mouth before the owl shits in it.
He should have played Zach Morris. I want to say that about a kid.
Don't kill me, Mike. Basically, a good kid, so just don't kill me. I can help you. Just tell me that.
Wait, can't miss Jamie Zerk. Jamie Gertz.
Told you.
Jamie Zerk. See what she does to him. I love this. You drank someone's blood?
Are you crazy?
She's looking like an old woman right there. Mamushka. Babushka. Whatever. One of those damn things. Is it Babushka?
Yeah.
Still on Adam's family. That's some not.
You sure you want to put the Lost Boys out first?
Oh, come on.
So we talked a little bit about Richard Donner as executive producer of this film.
My gosh.
He was originally slated to direct this film, but he had a big, from what I understand, a issue with the script with Warner Brothers, and he helped them decide to choose Joel Schumacher instead. In the interim, Mary Lambert, who did Pet Sematary, was going to be the director of this, but for whatever reason, it didn't work out.
I love Mary Lambert.
How different of a movie that would have been.
But there was also going to be a sequel called The Lost Girls,
Yes.
which never came to fruition. I don't know anything about it. That's literally all I know. But
that was like 06 or something they were talking about it.
oh wow.
Yeah, it was that late.
Well, there's a Lost Boys series. Well, from my end, I was under the impression that was going to be a movie that came out like the next year or a couple of years later. There's a sequel, direct-to-video sequel called Lost Boys: The Tribe in 2008.
That made me vomit.
That made me vomit.
Yeah, that was a terrible movie.
Starring Angus Sutherland, Kiefer's brother, and Corey Feldman, and Corey Haim, I believe. And there's a comic book series that takes place between The Lost Boys and the sequel that came out in 2008. So you got a 31-year gap there. Well, that's not quite 31 years. But you got a 20-something year gap called Reign of Frogs. And then there's a 2010 third film called Lost Boys: The Thirst,
I haven't heard of
which also stars Corey Feldman.
What was the one we had for the film festival?
Oh, that's a fan film.
Yeah, I understand that, but do you remember what it was called?
I didn't.
Did you watch it?
We had a Lost Boys fan film sent to us, but
I don't think I watched it.
it was watched by judges. I know that, but
I watched it because I was curious. Or I watched part of it because I was curious. Jeff said it was shit, and it was.
oh my God. Really sorry to those filmmakers for in case you're listening.
It didn't really have.
Vampires.
It didn't really have anything to do with the Lost Boys. It didn't kind of go into mythology, or you figure.
Why bother? Why bother using the title then if you're not gonna?
I don't know. As I will tell y'all later, that kind of stuff can get you in trouble. I have a story about that.
All right.
From the past day.
I would love to hear that.
was kind of okay. We're badasses here. We're actually gonna kill a vampire for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns very badly.
I was under the impression they've killed them before.
I think they try to give that impression, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's all fake, or they were all talking big.
Bravado, as it were, and badly drawn comic books.
Yes.
So this is the film where the Coreys met and became a thing, but from my understanding, Corey Haim auditioned for the role in Goonies that Corey Feldman got.
Oh, really?
So they've already kind of crossed paths a little bit somewhere. So they've gotten to the vampire's lair where they're sleeping, and one of them makes I think a pretty valid point, which is, I thought vampires are supposed to sleep in a coffin. They're like, well, it's a cave. It's pretty much a big coffin already.
Well, because it was a hotel that fell in. I mean, so people had to die in it anyway, so it would make it a big coffin.
Oh, I remember now. They're sort of surprised that they actually killed one too when they did it.
But my favorite part about this, first of all, they kill Alex Winter. But when they run out to the car, and Alan's like, "Oh my God, we unraveled in the face of the enemy," and Court Feldman's like, "They pulled a mind trick on us. They opened our eyes and spoke."
All right, that's my favorite part of this, is Kiefer's line, "You're dead meat." A very 80s thing to say.
Lots of screaming.
He's like, that's the best you can come up with? Not even a Michael?
And they outpull the vampire.
You're dead meat, Michael.
You're dead meat, Michael's brother. Sorry, I had to get a Michael in there.
I don't understand how they outpull a vampire, but that's so cool.
Well, I think it helps for the audience to reiterate the fact that sunlight is not good.
He even cries a little bit.
Chicks dig tears.
So do film directors.
Joel Schumacher does. Mine's scrambled.
So again, this...
But, we're getting ready to get into montage. Sam tries to get help from Mom. Mom doesn't believe him.
One last big plea to Mom. Doesn't work. This is pretty funny.
And the Frog Brothers say,
They interrupt
"We like doing it better by ourselves anyway."
They interrupt the wedding to get holy water. To load up with holy water.
Canteens.
These people should all know why they're in there doing that too.
Yeah, I mean, if vampires is such a big problem.
Exactly.
Grandpa, the little Johnson house said to figure out
What the hell is he doing? Is it taxidermy?
we got a date.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's
The Widow Johnson.
Gotta wash my balls.
They're hanging outside my shorts. They're easy to clean.
Let's vampire-proof the house.
By locking the windows.
So where do you get that much garlic? Jesus.
It's Santa Clara.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's the vampire capital of the world. It's everywhere.
I love the bathtub full of.
They apparently got a shit ton of holy water that you don't see.
Yeah.
I didn't look like it was that much
Filling up
in
the squirt guns.
3 hours later.
montage.
Party on, excellent. Oh, sorry. Oh, man.
I don't want to wake up. You know how long I've been missing?
It's unclear.
My name's not Laddie, goddammit.
Yes, it is.
It would really help police find the kid if they actually knew their name.
The real name. We're walking around going, Laddie, and like 10 dogs come walking from the neighborhood.
Get a pedicure, dude. Shit.
I'm really sorry that they killed Alex, but man, am I tired. We got to go back to sleep.
Yeah, I think if someone snuck in my lair and killed one of my friends, I don't think I could go back to sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of have to, don't they?
Do they?
Rules?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I love that they just rewound
the
video
water's going backwards.
as if you couldn't tell from looking at the water. The waves.
Well, it's Joel Schumacher. I like it when the waves go backwards.
That's interesting. We have a tie. We have a tie between The Thing and this movie.
A tie?
As far as like points on.
Something that ties them together.
Oh,
There's a connection.
What's that?
Alan Frog, Jameson Newlander, is also in Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Plays the mayor.
Well, it's the same dog from the thing, too.
yeah, the dog, yeah.
I'm sticking with that one.
That's funny. I was trying to look up all these. Because I think Billy Worth did some stuff too after. He's still working. He's doing shorts. Sorry.
Is that a euphemism for? No.
A lot of TVs.
Some alternate.
Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
We're doing shorts.
Are you doing shorts?
Some alternate casting for this film. Jim Carrey was very nearly cast as David, which is this is before Jim Carrey was famous too. He'd done Once Bitten, but that's about it. I mean, he was a well-known stand-up comedian and an impressionist, but not a movie star. And Joel Schumacher would famously work with Jim Carrey about 10 years later with Batman Forever.
Batman. It always leads to
Speaking
Batman.
of, have you heard of the casting for the Riddler in the new Batman movie?
I just kind of glanced at it.
Paul Dano from Swiss Army Man.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Who I think is pretty good casting.
That'll work.
I believe that director, Matt Reeves, is going to do something pretty good with that.
Oh, he also worked for Jim Carrey on the number 23.
The number 23. Yeah, I didn't see it, but
Schumacher did a horror film called Blood Creek, and it was actually pretty good.
he's made a couple
I saw that
decent
on here,
pictures
but I didn't know
over the
that.
years.
I mean, it was a good horror film.
When did that come out? Was it pre or post Lost Boys?
2009.
Oh, lies.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's a few years back, about 10 years ago. And I believe it had Michael Fassbender in
I
it.
really like Phone Booth.
He made a couple dramas in the 90s,
love
I
A
thought.
Time to Kill.
I was about to say Time to Kill. That was a John Grisham movie, right?
Yes, love that movie.
Yeah.
He did a couple John Grishams.
I was about to say, didn't he do...
Falling Down.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. We need to do that movie someday.
I haven't seen it in years since
That
it came
movie,
out.
that movie still, I watched it about a month or so ago. It popped up on TV. I watched the whole movie.
Really?
It still,
Holds up.
not only does it hold up, it's relevant
Yeah.
to today.
Might be something to watch back to back with Joker. Okay, so now we get our second vampire kill. And this dude, he gets it pretty bad. He falls in a whole bathtub of holy water and
They squirt him. That burns him. And then he attacks them.
That's happened to me before, too.
And it does, but
Hanging out at truck stops, you know, as a young kid.
right in the face.
the nut saves the day.
You know he's a vampire because he's got long fingers.
Yeah. I actually thought these were pretty good effects.
Yeah, this is one of the better parts of the movie. All the blood bursting out of the pipes and stuff.
Which these guys are covered in it, and I thought if you drink the blood of a vampire, you turn into a vampire.
Yeah, it can't see through your
rules are
pores.
so fluid in this.
Yeah, very much so. Well, he says right before this, vampires are all different. Sometimes you kill them, some of them explode, some of them don't do anything. I'm like, well, how the hell do you guys know this?
All right.
Is it from the comic book?
It's not from reading that shit.
I'm telling you, that comic book he doesn't know. John Carradine was...
This next kills are very 80s. What were you saying?
John Carradine was offered the role of Grandpa and turned it down. Some alternate casting.
I can understand that.
So we get some more holy water sprayed in the face, squirted in his eyes.
Holy water works. But crosses, didn't they take the cross and just throw it down? Stake or arrow? Oh, and a line. His only line in the whole movie. Poor Billy Worth.
Close your mouth.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Trying to talk through those dentures.
It's gonna be a good time tonight. Rock and roll music gonna play all night. That sound like that, ain't it?
Nice. Freaking head explodes. You miss sucker. That reminds me of the movie Bowfinger. You ever see that?
Oh my
Steve
God,
Martin.
yeah.
What was the line Eddie Murphy had? Gotcha, suckers.
Yeah.
Chubby Rain.
My Bowfinger story. I have a Bowfinger story.
You do?
I have a Bowfinger
Let's do a Bowfinger.
The first cruise line I went on. If you go on a cruise, have either one of y'all ever been on a cruise?
Unfortunately,
you go on a
yeah.
cruise, they have all this stuff on the ship while you're traveling. Well, they had a trivia contest, and they had a movie trivia. So Di's like, you need to go sign up for movie trivia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we go sign up for movie trivia. It's like 25 questions, showing clips on the screen, breeze through.
Mm-hmm.
Except for an Eddie Murphy movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what the fuck is that movie? I don't know. God, what is that movie? I knew obscure stuff. I knew secondhand lines. I knew they showed an old horror movie and I can't remember what it was. Anyway, I knew everything. I could not figure out that Eddie Murphy movie.
Laddie pretty much looks like a vampire there. And he is dressed in his old pirate clothes.
I mean,
It looks like Civil War era.
it's not. It's
Something with a lot of buttons.
It's like Bohemian. It's like Bohemian.
Yeah, Santa Cruz.
See, look at it.
I couldn't figure out what the hell that movie was. So that kept me from a perfect score. I still won by far and away, but it was Bowfinger, and I was like, I have never seen that fucking movie in my life.
The scene where Eddie Murphy's trying to cross the street made me piss.
That's the funniest shit.
I've never laughed so hard in my life.
I'm glad you won because I'm looking for a picture right now. I went on a Carnival cruise early this year, and I won the movie trivia.
Really?
Yeah, I have a little golden cruise ship
I have
trophy.
They gave us some medallions.
I was one off from a perfect score myself.
Yeah.
I did
I won movie night and I won music night, and which was like named that tune, and we won beach volleyball. No, we finished second in beach volleyball to a group of 4 college age guys. And it was me and Morgan and Ashley and Freddie.
I did a whiskey trivia. I just kept drinking whiskey until I got it right. I don't remember. I don't think it was an official contest.
No one's a winner.
Next Wednesday,
I felt like a winner.
Next Wednesday there is a Marvel trivia contest at Pig Pounder, maybe, but it's like $100 for first place.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and you can have 2 to 6 people on a team.
Really?
We should totally do
Let's go. I won't contribute, but I'll take the money.
Fine, I'm leaving you at home. Maybe chat out. I think it's movie.
I was gonna say if it's movies, I've got you, but I don't. You guys are the experts in the comics.
See, Michael's part vampire. They're all kind of starting to change a little bit, but they haven't become full vampire.
Here we go
until
again.
They make the first kill. I didn't listen to the rules. Except for Star.
I like the way his stubble disappears, so then he has the little baby face.
It does. He's a total badass now, but let him shave that little stubble off.
Just to make Michael feel bad. Oh, he's a baby face.
What the hell is he get a gazelle
I don't understand that.
skull?
Doesn't it have to be wood to penetrate the heart? Or is it just anything?
Hey, it's the rules, man. It's the Lost Boys rules. It doesn't matter.
Lost Boys rules means there are no rules.
First rule of Lost Boys rules is Lost Boys rules rule.
I think it's funny that he's penetrated from behind, too.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Damn it, man.
Joel thought it was funny, too.
Damn it.
That's one of the rewrites.
This isn't how I wrote this.
Y'all can blow this screw out.
We can't have rear penetration, Joel, we can't. It's dumb.
Terrible.
You with your mouth open. Go open the door.
All right, so for listeners at home, if you didn't understand by now, David has been impaled by gazelle horns or whatever that is, which Grandpa just happened to have in his taxidermy shop, which is a common thing you find in Southern California.
Oh,
And here's the
he's
swerve.
just a little baby.
Here's the turn.
So now Max walks in. Lucy's boyfriend.
See, now I don't understand how Laddie and Michael are both vampire and Star's not, other than you don't want to freaking dirty up that pretty face.
You never see her do anything vampire related.
I want to dirty up that bird.
I don't know what the boys need a mother thing. Boys and Miss Bessie.
You're a vampire. Sam, don't start this.
But Mom, he's totally vampire.
Who's this? Where you got the pest?
Silly boy.
Did you know that?
Wait, shouldn't he be powerless now? Sorry,
It's the rule. It's the Lost Boys rules.
rules.
So, because they invited the head vampire in, does that then give all his minions the rights to come in? Because they weren't invited. Is that how that works?
No, if you're invited, you
lose your powers to kill him or
So
hurt
they
him.
weren't invited. He could come in. It just didn't render him powerless. Maybe that's what happened this time.
I
Is
don't
he just walked in. Maybe it resets it when he walks out the door.
I guess.
It resets.
So I thought that meant
He makes a terrible vampire.
you are powerless if you invite me in.
You're powerless if you invite him in.
Yeah.
But you can come in. But that's how they were able
But
to
I'm
kill. 'Cause
like-
they
You
didn't
should
ask
have
him.
invited him in. He would have been powerless.
But I'm like, all the other Lost Boys came in. They weren't invited.
Well, I think you could come in. This is
Oh,
Lost
okay.
Boys.
I see what
rules.
you're saying. I see
Lost
what you're
Boys logic. Lost Boys rules.
Why
Okay.
is Star not a vampire? Other than you don't want to dirty up her face.
I do.
He's a terrible.
Dude, that's the ugliest vampire ever. That'd be the first thing I tell him. God damn, you ugly. You so ugly, you making me ugly. Looking at you.
And you go to sleep with him.
Wake up, Michael.
And you hear the organ? Oh, Grandpa!
How does he know to drive into his own home? I'm not asking. I don't care.
One of the Frog Brothers.
That is what it is.
Watch it. Put their sunglasses on.
They're
Their
prepared.
goggles on. They're like, yeah. Death by stereo. Oh wait, that was before.
Yeah.
Tired. It's 1:30 in the morning. You just might as and go straight to work. But don't you're gonna be late.
By the time I get home, it'll be just lay down for like 15 minutes.
You don't sleep anyway. And Grandpa just slowly walks out, go get his grape knee high.
I want to. Thou shalt not kill. Here. Just because.
Beat you over the head with that, don't
They do.
Start, I want to eat more blood.
See, like I say.
Yeah, but later he turns into a pile of dust because he's 300 years old. It was fun while it lasted.
He is fairly. Why would he be on a milk carton that long? He's not that old. Played laddie.
How much do you think we should charge him for this?
Chance Michael Corbett. He's known for the Lost Boys. He's still acting. Well, no. Last thing he did was 2013.
Grandpa gets the final joke of the movie.
He's in Kickboxer 2. Out of this world. Oh my God. All the damn vampires.
Grandpa's a real asshole.
Yeah, he could have said that at the
He
beginning
could
of the
have just,
movie.
yeah.
Laddie followed this up.
You know what, on
with
second thought?
Pumpkinhead.
Don't come.
He plays a young
There's vampires.
Eddie Harlan. Young Ed Harlan. Wow.
I almost feel like the whole character of Grandpa was just a big setup for that one joke at the end.
Okay. Oh yeah. It was almost.
Because that's what they were all waiting. Looks like they were all waiting for then the lights go down and.
All right.
And Joel Schumacher's looking back going, who's laughing?
See, I told you guys.
I hadn't paid
More
any
pink.
attention to this until I watched it the other day. The other times I've seen this, I don't always watch credits.
Greg Canham is a trash special effects artist.
So they've had all this popular 80s music, or rock. People Are Strange, In Excess. They've even had Walk This Way in it.
Lou Graham,
It's
Foreigner.
all been kind of this very set kind of music and sound and look to this movie. All very coordinated, all very done for a specific
Tone,
purpose,
feel, yeah.
telling.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have this as their credit song.
Yeah.
Well, people are strange. And then
It's like the closing of Battlestar
Don't Let the Sun Go Down on
It's
Me.
really weird. It's yeah.
Or Buck Rogers.
And this is
Who's singing it? That's what I can't remember. Oh, that's Roger Daltrey singing
Is that who it is?
Yeah. From The Who.
Such
Yikes.
weird, just like throw it at the end of the credits. So they played People Are Strange like 15 times. They played
Little
Cry
Sister.
Little Sister.
They played
20 times.
Every time somebody farts in when they play Little
Thou
Sister.
Shalt Not Kill whatever song.
Little Sister.
Cry Little Sister.
They played those songs 100 times, and then right at the end of the credits, they throw this song on. I don't understand. Did Roger Daltrey blow Joel Schumacher?
That's
No,
a
it's the
dangerous
other way.
question.
It's the other way around.
Okay. I don't know. There's been questions about Daltrey for years too.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So Townsend as well. Pete Townsend.
I know that.
What's a good vampire movie that's overlooked or underrated?
Near Dark. Well, it's gotten its due here. In the
It's
past several
by
years.
horror fans, but it's not a lot of mainstream people
yeah.
know about it.
From Dusk Till Dawn to some extent.
I love From Dusk Till Dawn.
Um,
How's Vampire
know.
Brooklyn? I don't recall that being any
Eddie
good,
Murphy,
but
no.
I want to revisit
That
it.
wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Wes Craven.
It seemed to me like it was a vampire meets Coming to America.
Yeah. That's exactly what
I
it
want
was.
to rewatch it because I feel like that should be good, but I don't recall it being good.
I felt like it should have been good when I paid money to go see it.
now, if you want to, if you want to see, I think a comedy vampire movie, Dracula Dead and Loving, it's really good.
I actually like
Leslie
that one.
Nielsen.
It's got a lot of issues, but it's you know
I don't think I've seen it. Yeah, I have seen that.
It's entertaining.
Underrated.
My favorite part of Dracula Dead and the Living is when it's a direct parody of Bram Stoker's Dracula when the stake goes in, blood just gushes everywhere, and Mel Brooks pops out and goes, "She just ate!"
I love Mel Brooks, man.
Oh God, anything Mel Brooks does, I've spotted my love for him forever. So.
Oh man,
I'm trying to think of.
I'd say Buffy. We said that one earlier, but I like that movie.
Buffy's good.
You talking about TV show or the movie?
Oh fuck the show, the movie.
Okay.
Overlooked vampire films. I like the '79 version with Frank Langella.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good
Dracula,
version. Yeah, it's a bit different, but I like that one.
Vampiros Lesbos.
Haven't seen it.
The Hunger.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Okay.
Tony Scott.
I love.
Little Baby Ducks.
This is a TV show, not.
This is how I am at 2 in the morning. Just saying. Sure.
I love Little Baby Ducks. Who doesn't? It was a TV show called The Kindred. And it was before the movie The Kindred. I think it was early 90s or something. But it's very soap opera-y.
Mm-hmm.
Only lasted for a season. I think it only lasted for a season. But it actually broke the vampires into four different
Classes.
clans. They were called clans. The Nosferatu were very ugly and stayed in the shadows. And I'm trying. There was a warlike vampire, and it starred Kelly Rutherford as a girl a newspaper reporter who starts digging up this. All of them are kind of working in the shadows, but she's starting to figure out that there's vampires in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think they bring werewolves into it. Maybe they don't. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but it's a very underrated TV show. It was very good.
I'll look it up.
It was kind of scary. For TV, it still had its soap opera moments because it's TV. I think it was called The Kindred, but I actually have all that on video.
No shit.
Yeah, it's a good show. I don't know where you can find it now, though. I don't know if it's playing anywhere.
There's talking about Overlooked. There's one by Guillermo del Toro called Chronos.
Never seen
If you've
it.
never seen that,
I've heard a lot about it.
That's a great vampire flick.
30 Days of Night I thought was pretty good.
30 Days of Night was good.
That was pretty intense.
Good comic book.
Yeah, it was
Even
really
though I
good.
don't like Ben Temple-Smith's artwork. I don't know. It's too scratchy. I don't like.
Speaking of Guillermo, I thought Blade 2 was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As far as the Blade movies go. Well, as far as Blade, I'm interested to see what Mahershala Ali does with introducing vampires into the MCU. Mm-hmm. That sounds cool.
Vampire Hunter D was an animated, but I think there's 2 of them.
It was very anime though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was anime, but it was still it was very good vampire movies.
It's hard to do something new and interesting with vampires these days. I mean, I think for a while there, True Blood did it. Like the first season or 2, people were interested again.
Yeah.
And then they kind of killed that off with those shows.
96. Kindred the Embraced. Eric Keane, Stacey Haddock. Julian Luna, the undead prince of the city, leads the vampire clans as he falls in love with Caitlin, a human reporter, which is Kelly Rutherford.
I was asked.
Thomas Howard.
I was asked recently in an interview for Uncle Otto what Stephen King property should be remade. I'm like, I don't know. They're already doing it. They're remaking everything. But this is not my answer. But my answer now would be, I think Salem's Lot would make a good.
I heard they're.
If it was,
I thought they were redoing it.
I think with I think everything's getting remade right now. But if you do it right, I could see that being a good.
That's an underrated vampire movie, Night Flyer.
Yeah.
Which is a Stephen King short that somebody put into it's based in an airport, like a small community airport. And pilots disappear, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a pretty good one. That's underrated.
Even Toho did a trio of vampire movies.
Really?
Called the Bloodthirsty trilogy. It was Lake of Dracula, Vampire Doll, and I can't remember the last one, but Vampire Doll was really good. But it's Toho, people that brought you Godzilla and everything making vampire movies.
So was the vampire the best monster?
No.
You like Frankenstein?
I actually like the Frankenstein or the Creature from the Black Lagoon the best as far as those kind of guys. But I've never liked vampires because they don't.
I like something that's a twist on the classic vampire, something that's interesting and different. And I'll give you one example. We talked last episode briefly about the X-Files. One of my favorite episodes of the X-Files is Bad Blood from season 5, and it begins with Mulder chasing a vampire in the woods in this creepy setting. He catches up to him, sticks him in the heart with a stake, and then Scully catches up and reaches in his mouth and pulls out fake fangs and goes. It ends with Mulder going, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, I remember
That's
that.
a great way to start the show. That's a good episode.
I'm not too thrilled with the idea of the romantic vampire. I just don't like that much.
That shit. And I mean, that first book is okay.
Yeah.
But then it just got very. I love the setting. Vampires are very conducive to the New Orleans lifestyle and that kind of stuff, but it got so freaking convoluted and just overdone too much when they started going into the Lestat's history and whatever. That movie's kind of weird too. It's kind of gained a cult following, but I'm not a big fan.
I think it's a pretty good movie. I think
Kirsten Dunst is the best part of that movie.
Yeah,
I thought the acting was good. I mean, I think Cruise and Pitt are pretty good in that. But I don't know. I'm if I could think of what the next cool thing to do with vampires would be, maybe we should do it. But I don't know.
Did you guys like The Strain, the TV show?
Yes.
I've heard good things. I haven't seen it.
Great.
I've heard really good things about it.
It didn't end well.
I don't think I watched the last season or so, but yeah.
But it's predicated on the fact that these worms cause vampirism, and if you cut a vampire, it bleeds, and these worms are in the blood. And the worm gets in you, you become.
Most time through the eyes.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Based on
Guillermo del Toro and Chuck.
book.
Yeah,
And Chuck Palahniuk or Chuck Hogan?
Chuck Hogan. Yeah.
Yeah.
The books are excellent. The
Yeah.
show didn't end well, but it was great. It was a great twist on vampires.
Yeah. I don't know, it's...
I like vampires as more of a pestilence to mankind than a romantic. Even though if say Frank Langella's Dracula that we talked about before, he's this romantic disco Dracula looking guy. But underneath that, there's just this dirty, like when they go down under the mines and find Lucy down there, and she's just this decrepit, nasty looking. I like that kind of stuff.
But by the same token, I don't know that Ashley would have any context with vampires at all if it weren't for Twilight. She loves the Twilight.
Twilight was a big thing for vampires. A good, I won't say twist on it, but
she's a '90s kid, so she grew up on that.
They get hated on, but hey, it got people interested in horror and vampires. And stuff
I haven't seen or read it.
She read the books. I think the books are a little more horrific than the movies, but
anything that gets kids reading, and
sure,
I'm for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, have we heard anything about anybody making a new vampire movie or?
Morbius is being made right now.
Yeah.
Jared Leto, which is going to be a Sony property, not a Marvel property, but
Which Morbius is a scientific vampire,
Right.
rather than
Science created.
Yeah.
He's sort of a living vampire. I think they call him the living because he's not really undead. He just has a medical condition
Uh-huh.
that makes him want to drink blood.
I am very intrigued to see what they're going to do with vampires in the MCU. Though that'll be cool with Blade. I think the rumor I've heard is they're going to introduce Blade in the next Doctor Strange movie, which
That would
is
make sense.
which would be a cool way to do it, and then give him his own movie. So I
How
don't
they're
know.
going to pull that off without an R rating or some kind of gory?
Well, Joker's doing really well, and it's rated R, so I think maybe they'll make Blade rated R.
Marvel's gonna
You know,
have to do. I mean, they're eventually gonna have to dip their toes into that.
yeah.
Yeah.
For it to be. For
Well,
them
the
to
other
do
Blade
something,
movies
so-
were R.
Well,
And
for them
you
uh,
to
know,
keep expanding and growing, they need to start stretching to new territory. Yeah.
So now the question is, do they, if they bring in Morbius and they bring in Blade, are we going to see an MCU Dracula? Because I mean that's public domain,
Well,
so they could use it.
Yeah, they could. And Dracula was in one of the Blade movies, the other Blade movies, but this Morbius won't interact with this Blade, I don't think.
Yeah, because it's
Because of
different. Yeah, it's Sony.
But you're talking about like
Unless-
Tomb of Dracula,
Yeah.
Dracula
Yeah.
that from Marvel Comics, yeah, where he's got has the more regal get up, and he looks more like a real count.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Even those 70s, because I mean, then it's unlimited. That 70s Marvel horror stuff with that and Werewolf by Night and that Frankenstein and the Living Mummy and the Adventure into Fear stuff and
Man Thing.
Man Thing. Didn't Man Thing pop up in something here or Swamp Thing? No, Man Thing.
He was in Ragnarok. He was one of the
Yeah.
statues on the tower, and
But I thought it like, oh man, maybe it's a comic that he's reemerged in the comics, but it's like a little bitty man thing.
That was in the
weird
Avengers.
Okay.
where he ripped off a piece of the Man Thing and
Yeah.
to make
That's
wooden
Blade.
spikes for. No, it was another vampire that killed other vampires. It wasn't Blade though. He's got this little Man Thing baby here that
Yeah.
provided him with wooden stakes to.
But that was very
them.
Blade centric.
Blade was in it.
Yeah,
Blade
Ghost
was in
Rider
it.
kind of goes
Yeah.
off the rails and.
I'd love to see just a horror Marvel movie with all those characters, Ghost Rider, Man Thing,
That'd be
all
cool.
those guys. Yeah.
Well, they've been,
Well, maybe that's
they've
where they're
already
headed.
Introduced Ghost Rider and Shield, so.
Legion of Monsters. Whenever they team them all up in the comics, they call it Legion of Monsters.
Maybe that's where
And
they're headed
Moon
with.
Knight.
Oh yeah, they're doing a Moon
Yeah,
Knight too.
Moon Knight was in Werewolf by Night, and yeah, that'd be awesome.
Maybe Disney Plus is where they're headed. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll do that with
Yeah.
that.
That would seem to be the more better way
Appropriate.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were hear something out of that next October. That would be kind of
Mm-hmm.
appropriate.
I've got I subscribe to the DC Universe thing, and I just finished watching the Swamp Thing
How was it?
series. Very good.
Really?
I was surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear
Too bad it's
really
canceled.
Yeah. I mean, they canceled it
Before it
ever
happened.
came
good.
out.
Almost all the DC stuff did.
But that's one of the best shows on there.
Just Cole's in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's made in Wilmington or
Yeah.
Yeah, Wilmington.
Charleston or somewhere. Yeah.
It's made in Wilmington.
Well, I think that's going to wrap up our conversation on the Lost Boys.
Oh, we still talking about that?
You tell
It's a net.
Send us your emails.
Fun of Lost Boys and started talking about vampires.
Send us your thoughts. Tell us what's the most underrated vampire movie.
Has there been a vampire in the DCU?
I'm sure there has. I just can't think of it right now.
Have they used Dracula at all?
I think they have their version of Dracula.
I know they have a zombie. Actually, I have a couple of zombies, but
Yeah,
you'd figure so. I don't know.
I think so. I'm going to gamble and say yes, there has been a DC version of Dracula.
Chad, where can our listeners find more of you?
Driving home here in a few minutes.
For hours worth of sleep.
Facebook, Chad Hunt on Facebook, on Instagram.
Chad Hunt, $30. Chad Hunt.
Chatty, CHADDY_baby on Instagram. And
Chatty baby.
yeah, $30 for an autograph.
Calls him.
And,
Almost got that one person to do it at Mysticon. She gave me a look.
yeah, we got a few looks, but then they looked at me and go, what the fuck?
Chad Hunt, $30.
And GruesomeMagazine.com.
Oh, that wasn't for
Podcast on
autograph,
there,
was
too.
it?
However I can make the 30, I don't care. Just a gigolo.
People know the song I'm playing.
Sammy, what about you?
You will find me on a movie set near you somewhere. I don't know.
Particularly in the Wilmington area.
Wilmington or Petersburg
Or Virginia.
Richmond, we'll talk about that later. Or where else? I don't remember. Oh, the original Hollywood Horror Show. Yeah, I've been working down there. That's a thing for several years now.
Truck stop bathroom on
And truck
52.
stop bathroom on the way back from
He works there,
original
too.
Hollywood Horror Show.
He does a few jobs.
It's supposed to rain the next 2 Saturdays, which is gonna
That means you'll have to go inside the stall. That sucks.
I don't even know what he's talking about. Shad the Lot Lizard. And on all the social media at Sammie Castle. Check out Sammie the comic book man. He's still stomping around doing some talks. Oh crap! I was supposed to email somebody the other day with what explanation of what I do.
remind
I
yourself.
forgot it. And I'll forget it tomorrow when I've got 6 hours of sleep. Or 4, or 2, or whatever it's called.
How I envy you.
You can find everything we're up to at regatherproductions.com. We're all on Facebook and all different projects have their own Facebook page. So
Go support your local hall. Whether it's a Hollywood Horror Show, whether it's Spooky Woods, whether it's that Jackass up on the north side of Greensboro, whether it's Lake Hickory, whether it's Panic Point, my friends down there, just go support your local hall. Scarowinds, Universal Hollywood Horror Nights, wherever.
Yeah. Check out Carolina Hates podcast.
Scary stuff too.
We'll have a Halloween special episode coming up on October 31st. And
I'm going to go home and download the episode tonight since I probably won't sleep.
On Pazuzu.
On the Voodoo Baby.
you can friend of the show.
Pazuzu has called out.
Different Pazuzu,
Yeah.
but yeah, we've talked to Pazuzu before. The real
Let me tell you
demon.
something about the Voodoo Baby.
Is it too late for me to step outside? But yeah, email us your concerns, issues, thoughts. Productions@gmail.com. Leave us a review. No, he hasn't.
Maybe Michael will call in. Michael?
Maybe Donald will come.
Michael? You there, Michael?
Leave us a review on iTunes. We really appreciate it. You don't have to leave a huge comment. Just give us some stars. Just a few, please.
Or
Fine.
each comment.
I gave all the stars. I went on there and gave all the
Chad did.
stars.
Thank you, Chad.
Yeah.
I saw that. Appreciate it. We'll be back next Friday with what did we just do?
The theme.
The thing.
Not my thing, not Chad's
We'll
thing,
be back
not your
with
thing, but
John Carpenter's thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until then,
Not Marvel's thing.
With one of the Wilford Brimleys.
Michael.
Michael?
Michael.
Michael?
Don't kill me, Mike. Mike, don't kill me.
Michael.
People are strange.